Good evening. We sincerely apologize for bringing the news late. This is due to technical issues beyond our control. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV. Here are the top stories making headlines. Over 21,000 girls drop out of school due to early marriages, FAWEZA. HH's proposed constitutional amendment not for altering electoral statutes. Energy experts urge a swift action of solar project implementation to meet 1,000 megawatt target. In international news, Trump aid cuts Ugandan authorities concerned as malaria season starts. And in sports news, under 17 goal scoring potential impressive coach KANYEMBA. Do join me with the details after this break.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
With the news in detail, my name is Sylvia Zulu. The United Party for National Development, UPND, has dismissed claims suggesting that President Hakainde Hichilema's recent remarks on constitutional amendments ahead of next year's elections are aimed at altering electoral statutes. On Saturday, during the International Women's Day celebrations in Kasama, President Hichilema stated that the country had agreed to amend the constitution before the 2026 general elections. This announcement sparked mixed reactions among stakeholders and political players, with the majority condemning the proposal. However, addressing the media in Lusaka today, UPND Media Director Mark Simoe clarified that the proposed constitutional amendments are intended to promote proportional representation of women in Parliament.
On Saturday, the 8th of March 2025, Zambia joined the rest of the world in commemorating International Women's Day under the theme For All Women and Girls, Rights, Equity, Empowerment. The celebrations took place in Kasama, where Republican President Hakainde Hichilema was a guest of honor. During his speech, President Hichilema made a seemingly controversial statement indicating that the country had agreed to amend the constitution before the 2026 general elections.
We want to invite all the stakeholders, civil society, churches, traditional leaders, to support the constitutional amendments that will allow for us to bring more women in Parliament, either through direct election or through proportional representation. I take it that as a nation we agreed that we will amend the constitution before the 2026 elections so we can deliver more opportunities for women and the society as a whole.
This statement sparked widespread debate among political players and various stakeholders in the country, with the majority condemning the proposal. However, during a media briefing on Monday, 10th March 2025, UPND Media Director Mark Simoe dismissed suggestions that the president's remarks were aimed at altering electoral statutes. Mr. Simoe instead clarified that the proposed constitutional amendments are intended to promote promotional representation of women in parliament and leadership positions.
The president spoke in Kasama. He spoke in the spirit of the International Women's Day with a clear reference to proportional representation. The idea is that he is assuring women that in his capacity and many others, we don't disagree to the idea that there should be more women in Parliament. We don't. So he said, I hope we are agreed on the fundamental issue of proportional representation. The reason is simple. Even those that are on the other side, our colleagues, they do appreciate proportional representation, and they talk about it. If you recall, in Bill 10, proportional representation was there, and they spoke of proportional representation very highly. So we have no doubt. Other countries have done it, like South Africa, and they are able to get women there.
He further emphasized that the amendments are not intended to abolish the majoritarian democratic system or replace it with the proportional representation system, as has been suggested by Economic Freedom Fighters President Kasonde Mwenda.
Come rain, come sunshine, there should be 50 women there. That's what the president will want to see. But those that don't mean well, perhaps they have not even read international conventions on gender equality. They are opposed to that. They should also have time to read the national gender policy. They will know where the country is headed to. And the president is simply responding to the various conventions Zambia has signed many years before he became president on the gender equality. Because you can't have a situation where there are more women electorates than men, but when it comes to positions, they should be the minority. It's not making sense at all. And that's the country in which we are. Many countries have crossed that boundary.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Forum for African Women Educationalists Zambia National Chapter, FAWEZA, has reviewed that an estimated 21,500 girls drop out of school each year due to teenage pregnancies. FAWEZA Executive Director Kosten Kanchele noted that while progress has been made in increasing access to education, with more girls than boys now enrolled in primary and secondary schools, early marriages and teen pregnancies remain a pressing concern. Mr. Kanchele has called on the government and various stakeholders to collaborate in efforts to reduce the increasing numbers of early marriages and teenage pregnancies in the country. He highlights that to address this challenge, FAWEZA conducts policy sensitization through its 500 structures clubs known as Students Alliance Equity in schools.
We are concerned about teenage pregnancies, we are concerned about child marriages, which all concerned stakeholders, government, FAWEZA, and the other gender justice organizations should seriously look into. So, in terms of what we do to curb these child marriages, we do a lot of policy sensitization in the communities that we serve through our structures called Students Alliance for Equity in schools. So basically in these clubs, we are in about 500 clubs. We talk about, school, we talk about issues of growing up for girls. We talk about, life skills. We talk about importance of education. We talk about the issues of, gender-based violence and many other issues. So these safe clubs is a peer structure comprising of boys and girls. Like I said, we are in close to 500 schools countrywide. So apart from working in these safe spaces, we also work with government in rolling out life skills and health education, which is a government program. So as FAWEZA, we do train teachers to ensure that this LC reaches the remotest schools where these issues of child pregnancies and teenage pregnancies are quite high. So beyond that, we also work with community structures, namely the community action groups. In all the 500 schools, we have these community workers who are our foot soldiers. These foot soldiers, they are popularizing, policies like the re-entry policy, the education policy, salient issues around, gender and equity policies.
Energy expert Leonard Sepe has described the country's target of generating 1,000 megawatts of power through solar investment as ambitious, emphasizing that it is only achievable if project implementation is already underway. Last week, Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, while meeting with Solar Energy Explosion Financing Group at State House, indicated that the country could reach 1,000 megawatts of solar energy through public-private partnerships with stakeholders such as banks. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Sepe, however, noted that developing solar infrastructure capable of generating such capacity requires significant time and investment. He stressed that delays in initiating projects could hinder progress towards meeting the set target to effectively address the power deficit the country is facing.
The slow pace at which some of these projects are being implemented. Of course, achieving the 1,000 megawatts project is optimistic, but at the same time it is something that is very ambitious in the sense that what we are talking about, if at all the project have already commenced, then we can safely say yes, achieving the production of 1,000 megawatts for power generation is very, very optimistic. But we also need to realize the fact that such an undertaking is not an easy project, because basically setting up such an infrastructure that can produce 1,000 megawatts requires 12 to 24 months. That includes planning, installation, up until it's being commissioned. But if we are talking about the project that has already commenced, that is almost near completion project, then we can say, yes, we are optimistic that the government is going to achieve the production of 1,000 megawatts. And also with regards to the remarks by the Minister of Energy that by June the load shedding is coming to an end, it is something that is commendable. However, for such a promise to be fulfilled, then basically three things must be attained. That is, one, the operational capacity. Already we have seen what ZESCO has been going through.
The Zambia Institute for Policy Analysis and Research, ZIPA, has urged the government and stakeholders to prioritize long-term planning for the country's transport sector. Speaking during the 4th CCG Annual Network Workshop, ZIPA Acting Senior Research Fellow Malindi Msoni underscored the importance of scenario development in anticipating future challenges and opportunities within transport energy systems. Ms. Musoni emphasized that collaborative efforts among ministries, agencies, and civil society are crucial in shaping transport policies aligned with sustainable development goals. She advocated for innovative strategies, including investment in public transport and incentives for electric vehicles to reduce congestion and promote greener alternatives.
The idea here is to really just think about how will the future look like, what's currently happening now, and what strategies can policymakers, for example, looking at these alternative scenarios, come up with. And in particular, thinking about Zambia, where we have this very ambitious road infrastructure investment plan. This could help decision makers and other key stakeholders think about what other additional policies do they need to put in place, for example, to avoid what might happen in the scenario Shumba, where you're investing in roads, but you're also encouraging rapid motorization. Should you maybe, like what we've done, remove import duty on electric vehicles so that people buy electric vehicles, or should we intensify investments in public transportation?
It is important for investment and regulatory frameworks that are resilient to future trends. So it helps us to have this perspective of long-term planning. If you model the future, you are able to identify where the gaps are and how to seal those gaps. The other benefit is on financing and undertaking what we can call cost-benefit analysis. We can use these scenarios to conduct cost-benefit analysis of different transport and energy strategies. By comparing potential costs and benefits, we can prioritize investments in technologies and infrastructure that offer the most significant societal gains.
Political scientist Dr. Joseph Salisho has cautioned that introducing constitutional clauses that deliberately favor specific groups could compromise the inclusion of a predetermined number of representatives in office. He says the current constitution does not restrict minority groups from participating in elections or assuming leadership roles. Dr. Salisho noted that the constitution permits any individual who meets the necessary qualifications to contest for elective office. He adds that rather than amending the constitution, efforts should focus on providing financial support to empower women to participate effectively in elections.
The constitution is sufficient enough to allow every citizen that meets the criteria of those that want to contest for elections to participate, whether male or female, young and old. But the danger of having clauses that are specific to women, it may lead to discrimination and many groups coming up wanting to be given the same favors. Because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and it must be highly treasured and standardized. Because in itself, there are no discrimination. At the moment, any person in Zambia can contest elections if they are Zambian, as long as they meet the election criteria that is there. However, the issues of women must be related to ability to mobilize funds for elections. None of them may not have the financial capacity. So the president must be talking about how can we help women financially so that they are helped during campaign period. Because most men have financial power to do the campaign on their own. At the moment, the Constitution is sufficient to allow any Zambian that wants to contest elections.
The Keepers Zambia Foundation, KZF, has called on the Department of National Parks and Wildlife to collaborate with security agencies to enhance animal safety and safeguard conservation efforts. This appeal follows the devastating water pollution in the river caused by acid contamination. In an interview with Camnet News, KZF Executive Director Ezra Banda underscored the need for collective action to tackle the unfolding environmental crisis in the Kafue River. He emphasized the need for heightened surveillance to prevent animals from escaping park boundaries, thereby protecting wildlife and preserving conservation gains. Mr. Banda stressed that the government's response to the current ecological crisis must go beyond mitigation efforts concentrated solely in the Copperbelt region.
Everyone is aware of what is happening in terms of pollution, which has been caused by the spillage of acid under the cyano plant, cyano mining company. And at the moment, we know that not only people have been affected, we know that the fish or the systems in the water has been affected, but also for the concern is that Kafue River, runs through the parks, where we know that's where our tourism is. So I don't really understand at the moment, but want to urge the wildlife, Department of Wildlife, to go in also seriously and work with the security team which they have put in place, so to ensure that we try to secure the water for animals, or else we shall lose in terms of tourism. So we are so much concerned as citizens, as people working around the environment. So you can imagine, you can see how huge the effect would be on the natural resources as well as living organisms, animals. Our tourism will be affected. So I think we believe that the government should look beyond just looking at mitigating from the angle of Copperbelt, because now the spirit is gone beyond when they were 200 kilometers having been covered, where they noticed those spottings. It therefore means that the water could have gone very far. So we believe that maybe the parks could come in and also do their surveillance, verify, cover the whole park, so that they make sure that they also start putting some measures which might help us to save our animals, but also so we shall be hit in terms of the tourism.
The Zambia Parliamentary Caucus on School Health has commended President Hakainde Hichilema for the expansion of the school health program, which has so far benefited over 1.5 million learners. ZPCSH chairperson Twambo Mutinta says that 595 health rooms have been constructed in schools, providing essential medical care through trained teachers and health workers. He adds that the program targets the construction of 2,500 health rooms and the training of 15,000 teachers across 70 districts to ensure learners have consistent access to medical support. Mr. Mutinta notes that 2 district education offices have been completed in Chipata and Solwezi, with 5 more currently under construction in Luwansha, Mwense, Mansa, Samthia, and Choma. Medical expert Dr. Teddy Mulenga has cautioned the public against using sharp objects or substances to clean their ears, warning that such practices pose serious health risks. In an interview with Camnet TV News, Dr. Mulenga explained that inserting sharp objects into the ear increases the risk of damaging sensitive areas, potentially leading to the perforation of the tympanic membrane, the membrane responsible for transmitting sound vibrations essential for hearing. He further noted that sharp objects can injure the inner walls of the ear, causing bleeding. Dr. Mulenga strongly discouraged the use of sharp objects for ear cleaning, emphasizing that the ear is a self-cleaning organ. He explains that earwax naturally exits the ear during sleep. However, if necessary, individuals should seek professional medical assistance for safe wax removal through syringing.
The habit of people using sharp instruments to clean their ears is something that we in medicine would like to warn against. We don't advise anyone using any sharp object, in fact any object at all, even if it's not sharp, into the ears, because the danger of you going beyond the area where you want to clean is very big. You might end up perforating the tympanic membrane, the membrane that vibrates, that gives us the hearing capacity. So perforation possibility is very high. Other than that, you may injure the inside walls of the ears with the sharp instrument, leading to bleeding. Apart from that, the instrument may be contaminated. You cannot see the contamination of germs, so you may instill germs. And after, say, a few days, 3 days or so, the infection can develop, and you can develop what we call otitis media, that is the infection of the middle ear. So these are some of the things that we discourage people from doing, putting objects into the ears. One thing that people must remember is that the ears, like many other organs, is self-cleansing. That's why you see that wax collects there. It's actually a cleansing mechanism, automatic mechanism, that when you are sleeping, the small, pieces of wax fall out the ear. So that's a way of cleaning. Apart from that, if at all you have too much wax, we can syringe you. We can syringe the wax out, with water, warm water. So there's no need of using objects.
Former Zambia Army Commander General Isaac Arizona Soda Chisuzi has died following a short illness. Zambia Army Lieutenant General Geoffrey Chongo Ziele confirmed that General Chisuzi died in the early hours of Monday at Mainasoko Medical Center in Lusaka. General Chisuzi served as Army Commander from 24th January 2002 to 4th April 2010, making him the longest-serving Army Commander in the history of the Zambia Army. General Ziele described the late General Chisuzi as an accomplished and professional leader who made significant contributions to the modernization and development of the Zambia Army. Mongo Central Member of Parliament Oliver Amutike has urged the youth in Mongo District to turn out in large numbers to welcome Republican President Hakainde Hichilema on Wednesday. Mr. Amutike highlighted the government's significant investment in youth empowerment programs and emphasized the importance of showing support for the president's visit. He also called on the general public in Mongo District to come out in huge numbers to welcome President Hichilema, noting that the government has plans to introduce various developmental initiatives for Western Province, which has been lagging behind in terms of development.
UPND youth in Mongo District are geared to welcome the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema, who is expected to grace the 2025 Youth Day, which is slated for 12th March. And Mongo Central Member of Parliament, Oliver Hamtike, has assured the people that some youths are geared to welcome the Republican president, as he mentioned a number of programs aimed to support the youths.
First of all, we want to thank the head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema, for choosing to celebrate the National Youth Day here in Western Province, particularly here in Mongo. Central Constituency is ready to welcome him on Wednesday. We want to call upon our people here in Mongo Central to come in huge numbers. Come early because there will be so many people on Wednesday. So all the youth must be early at the airport, must be early also where we are going to do the rally. This is a very special day for the youth, as you are aware that the new Dawn government has invested so much in the youth. You know that your government cares about you. The government is taking care of you. The government is doing everything to create jobs, to create businesses for you.
The United Party for National Development Youth have expressed their appreciation to the Republican president for various programs such as Cash for Work, among other programs.
Lwezikia dulu hali tukisaliza wana hulu bakoto wana hulu ntitabo yezu la kuluna mayuthi lutabila hulu muvu ya president kende hulu akutaka kwanu kwa misiweza usoko na president tulatabila hulu nakakupa mayuthi kaswe ki iltusa hulu bakisakuli kafela batu kafela baza benefit hakuna wana kumundia asikabeleka mama wadi hulu kumana kwa kulika kwa takafela kubeleka haka mukabeleka
zeza maskills luli luboni kwanu kwa Mungu luli zaeza ala kwa Mungu trade kwa talimela matela drivers bricklaying mechanics so ande lutabile mane kamba kwa kona kamba kutokola kubona na wotende mayusi ba HB wana bali kuti Akainde boys.
Musebo Kabira, Camnet News in Mongo District, Western Province.
This is the main news on Camnet TV. We now take a break.
Every Monday to Thursday afternoon, join us for the Lunchtime Cafe. We get to bring to you emerging stories making the headlines, midday news, and we remind you of what political leaders and governance actors said back in the days. In Forgotten Stories, we emphasize to you the importance of eating healthy foods and leading healthy lifestyles on the Nutrition Corner. Get the latest updates in sports and critical interviews. Because we value your contribution to national matters, we accord you an opportunity to share your perspectives during the viewers' reactions. The Camnet TV Lunchtime Cafe is an all-inclusive buffet. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodland, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now in international news, malaria season has commenced across much of Africa, with the disease remaining one of the continent's deadliest threats, particularly affecting children. However, the recent decision by the Trump administration to slash 90% of USAID foreign aid contracts has raised significant concerns among health officials in Uganda. Experts warn that the cuts could trigger a health crisis in some of the world's poorest regions. Dr. Jimmy Opigo, who heads Uganda's malaria control program, told the Associated Press that stop work orders from USAID issued in late January have compelled his team to shift focus towards disaster preparedness. The United States is the leading bilateral supporter of the anti-malaria initiatives in Africa. Dr. Opigo emphasized the critical role of anti-malaria medications and insecticide-treated bed nets, describing them as essential as daily groceries. While no definite cure for malaria exists, vaccination programs are ongoing in parts of Africa. Although these vaccines are not perfect, they are expected to continue with the support of the Global Vaccine Alliance. Here's a roundup of international news.
Malaria season begins this month in many parts of Africa, where it is the deadliest disease, especially for children. The Trump administration's decision to reduce USAID's foreign aid contracts by 90% has raised concern among health officials in Uganda, who fear disaster in poor regions.
It's not the complicated version. You only get oral medications that are around 25 or 20. So in total, it's around 60,000 Ugandan shillings. In terms of dollars, that's around, let me see, $20 or $18 or $19 you get. But if we go to the severe form where you need IVs, in addition they may give you other IV fluids, just because maybe malaria may cause dehydration, you may vomit, you get. So there, the bill is usually way too higher. It may be 3 times that amount. So $20 times 3 may be around $60, which is really a big figure when you look at our socio-economic status of most of the people in our country.
Dr. Jimmy Opigo, in charge of Uganda's malaria control program, stated that the USAID stop work orders have shifted their focus to disaster preparedness.
Now, the disruption has worked on, for example, the logistic system. You know, the medicines, the test kits, the mosquito nets, the spray operations. We are constantly consuming these things. They are produced somewhere offshore. They have to be shipped, warehoused, and moved to service delivery points. So right now, this process has been interrupted. Meanwhile, the service delivery points are exhausting what they had at hand, which can hardly last 1 month. So the catastrophe is really going to ensue or unfold towards the end of this month.
A year of supply chain disruption by the US could lead to 15 million more cases and 107,000 deaths.
More misery for Palestinians in Gaza as prices soar following Israel's decision to cut off food and other supplies to the enclave. Aid workers say it's endangering progress made during the 6-week ceasefire to prevent widespread famine. In Khan Yunis, People have been struggling to get bread and basic supplies. Last time we received aid, it was just a bag of flour, and that's not enough. For those that have children, it's just not enough to feed them. We need more than that. The situation is very difficult. No one is working, there's no money, there's nothing. On Sunday, Israel cut off Gaza's electricity supply as it presses Hamas to accept an extension of the first phase of the ceasefire that ended a week ago. The militant group has described the move as unacceptable blackmail. It hasn't been 2 months since the situation started to ease. Since the ceasefire began, it's improved a little, but before that it was very bad. It was famine. You couldn't satisfy your hunger. You couldn't find bread. Children would cry in the morning saying they wanted a piece of bread. The situation was very bad, and the price of a bag of flour had reached about $200 or $300. Israeli negotiators are due in Doha today as mediators from Egypt, Qatar and the United States try to revive the ceasefire deal. Talks on the second phase, meant to achieve a lasting truce and a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, should have started a month ago. There is international concern over the growing tension in South Sudan as cracks emerge in the country's ruling coalition. Recent clashes in the northeastern Upper Nile state between forces allied to the president and first vice president are threatening a fragile power-sharing agreement. The unity government, led by President Salva Kiir, with former rebel leader Riek Machar as first vice president, was formed in 2018. This followed a peace deal that ended the country's 5-year civil war that cost nearly 400,000 lives. As fears grow of a renewed full-blown civil war, the United States on Sunday ordered all of its non-emergency staff to leave South Sudan. On Friday, a United Nations helicopter came under attack during a rescue mission which killed a crew member. The UN Commission on Human Rights in the country on Saturday called on leaders to urgently refocus on the peace process and the transition to democracy.
Under-17 coach KANYEMBA has expressed confidence in her team's goal-scoring potential ahead of their next home game. Speaking during a training session, Mrs. KANYEMBA commended the team's impressive performance in Sunday's match, where they scored a 3-0 victory. She praised the players for their teamwork and determination, which contributed to the win. However, she emphasized that the team would not become complacent, but remain focused and committed to achieving even better results in the upcoming fixture.
A win away from home goes to God. We give all the credit unto God who's allowed it and enabled us to get these results. Secondly, we want to appreciate the girls for the efforts that they put in. It wasn't an easy game, and the weather wasn't that favorable for us. This place is too hot, and playing on an artificial turf, we're used to the natural turf. But the girls never put that to mind, and they focused on the game. There are times that we lost momentum, but we still concentrated on the game, and we continued working hard. So a win away from home is a plus, because last year most of the games that we played at home we lost, but we told the girls to make a difference, and the difference has come today, and we're happy with it. Well, Tanzania is not a small team, and they played very good football. They're tactically good, and were able to displace us at times, but our girls remain focused and compact, and we dispossessed them and managed to get the goals. We told the girls to concentrate. First half was over, but we still had another 45 minutes to prove ourselves, and we thank God that the girls managed to come to the party, and we got those most important goals that gave us a win away from home. Definitely we need to get more goals if possible in the second leg. At home is always an advantage playing at home. We've got the crowd behind us, and we've got everyone at peace knowing that we're at home. So we are not going to be complacent with this result, but we are getting the new game as a new game altogether, and we are coming in it with the right attitude so that we get maximum points and we are able to score and not concede if possible. Excellent goals, the excellent opener from Grace It was a scramble, it was a good ball, and we give credit to her for the courage, the confidence that she took to take that shot. Messi, as a captain, she had to carry the team on her head and get those two important goals. So we really appreciate the effort, the combined effort, the ones that finished and the ones that created those chances for us to get the goals.
That's it for our main news tonight. Here's a recap of the stories making headlines. Over 21,000 girls drop out of school due to early marriages. FAWEZA. HH proposed constitutional amendment not for altering electoral statutes. Energy experts urge swift action of solar project implementation to meet 1,000 megawatt target. In international news, Trump aid cuts Ugandan authorities concerned as malaria season starts. And in sports news, under 17 goal scoring potential impressive coach KANYEMBA. We now look at the Camnet phase for a day coming from the book of Jeremiah 29 verse 11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night and God bless you.